All right, well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar, Crew Tools for the Property Department, Introduction to the Sync on Set 5.0 mobile app. My name is Natalie, and I'm on the marketing team here at Sync on Set, and I have with me my colleague Rachel, who is on our account management team, and she will be leading you through today's tutorial. Now let's take a look at what we're going to cover today. Today's webinar is designed for the property department, and this includes prop masters, assistant prop masters, and onsets. And today we're going to take an overview of the Sync on Set 5.0 mobile app. Now, please note that today's webinar will be specific to the 5.0 mobile app as because of August 14th, the original mobile app was removed from the App Store and is no longer available for download. So if you are currently using the original Sync on Set mobile app, please note that we recommend you remove that app and update to the new app by September 30th. September 30th is the cutoff date for when we will be supporting the old mobile app. And you can find the new mobile app in our App Store or Google Play Store. You're just going to look for the yellow and white icon as opposed to the yellow and black icon that was the original app. Now today, as we introduce you to the new mobile app, we're going to focus on the navigation and key functionality of the app. We'll give you a workflow of how to upload and tag your photos, and we'll also give you some best practices to remember. Following today's webinar, you will receive a few resources from us, and this is going to include a recording of today's webinar so you can go back and watch and rewatch it at any time. And we'll also give you a link to the Crew Tools FAQ page in case you have any questions about the web or mobile app. We'll also provide you with a link to the new support site for Sync on Set, and that is support.synconset.com. We launched a new site at the beginning of this year, so there you're going to be able to find all of our help articles, recordings of our past webinars, and you can also sign up for new webinars. And the last resource we're going to give you is a link to the productioncommunity.com, which is a resource offered by Entertainment Partners. And this is where you can find their webinar series, which is titled the Master Series. And this covers a range of topics going from the business of production to production technology, such as Sync on Set Crew Tools. And you'll also find a community forum where you can connect with other industry professionals and much, much more. So we definitely suggest that you check that out. All right, and with that, I'm going to pass things over to Rachel, and we'll go ahead and get started with today's demo.
Thanks so much, Natalie. Hello, everyone. And before we jump right into the app, just a quick overview of what we'll plan to cover today. So we're definitely going to review just the general navigation of the app, just so everyone kind of knows where they're at all times. But we're also going to really focus on how to upload and tag photos, as well as how to tag them to scenes, characters, and your inventory pieces. We'll close out with some best practices and then have questions answered at the end. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here. All right, so to start today's webinar, before I actually jump into the app, I did just want to show everybody what it looks like. So Natalie mentioned our old app is being sunset at the end of the month. So this is just a really great opportunity to get brought up to speed on our new app version. It is going to look like this. It's available for free in the App Store or Google Play Store, and it's just titled Sync on Set 5.0. If you've already been invited to your account or your production on the website, once you download this app, you'll automatically have access to it, and you'll just be able to log in using your same username and password as the web version. But jumping right into the app, you'll likely either land on the main menu here or the scenes index. But before we go too much further, I do just want to go ahead and give just a quick overview of this bottom navigation bar. So you can tap menu here in the bottom left for a list of various settings, which you can see on your screen. Tap scenes for your breakdown information or your scenes index. Tap episodes to switch to a different episode or select multiple episodes at one time. So really, really great if you're block shooting on an episodic. And then lastly, universal search in the bottom right is going to allow you to search across the entire production and easily jump into a scene, character, actor, or prop. You'll also notice this yellow syncing symbol in the middle here. This is probably going to spin periodically while you're using the app. We try to have the app sync automatically or when the app has recognized new information, but you can always tap here to trigger a manual sync as well. But jumping back into the main menu here, let's take a look at some of the customizations and settings you have available. So the top is just going to display the title of the production. If you're on an episodic, and it'll always tell you which episodes you have selected. Untagged photos is going to archive any photos you've uploaded, but maybe have not yet tagged to a scene character or prop. So this is a really great option if you're on the go. Maybe you're a day player coming in, or you're just working temporarily and you're really just looking for the easiest way to upload and tag photos. It's great to come here, upload them to untagged, and then you can come back later and tag them as needed. So we've already got a few photos here. I know that these photos are from scene 1 and scene 2, so I'm going to go ahead and tap just these circles to select my photos. And then I can tap tag, this tag icon at the top. And I want to tag them to scene 1, which I can just tap here for a scenes list. Otherwise, go ahead and just search here in the top search bar. But I can just tap on scene 1 and I will add my tag. Now those pictures disappeared pretty quickly, but we can find those on the scene 1 gallery. We'll head there in just a minute. But let's go ahead and tag these 4 photos to scene 2. So again, just selecting those by tapping the circle in the top right corner, tapping tag at the top. Again, that scenes list here in pink, and then I can go ahead and send these over to scene 2 at the coffee shop. Go ahead and add my tags. So this is just a great way to ensure that no photos are being missed or fall through the cracks during production. And again, we'll jump into those scenes in just a minute for a little bit more information, but I'm gonna head back to that main menu by tapping this arrow. Otherwise, you can always just re-tap menu to get brought back to that page. So syncing status. The syncing status page is gonna tell you which version of the app you're running. If you call into support, they might ask you. So this is a great place to see what version you're running. But it's also going to tell you if you have changes on your device that you want to sync, or if your sync is up to date. So really the goal here is to have 0 photos to upload, 0 photos to download, and 0 changes on the device. For me, I have airplane mode on just to have no distractions, but usually this will go ahead and say 0, and you would know that your sync is up to date. I do want to note that you will need to be connected to Wi-Fi in order to sync your data. So if you're working on location or working remote, somewhere with a weak signal, you may want to go ahead and just manually sync it, which you could always do by tapping here to trigger that manual sync. So as a best practice, we always just say, make sure you're fully synced in the beginning of the day before you get to set, and then again at the end of the day before you go home. And syncing properly, what this means or what this is doing is it's really ensuring that the photos you're taking on your personal device are shared with the rest of your team. But it also means that any photos and notes that they've uploaded, along with any script revisions or potential shooting schedule changes, those are also reflected back down to your device too. So always just great to get in the habit of syncing often. Switch Productions is going to show you all of the productions you have on your account, whether they're an episodic or a feature. So if you are on an episodic, this is pretty popular if you have access to previous seasons and you want to go ahead and reference some previous continuity. You can always kind of hop in those accounts from this tab here. Choose departments allows you to select which department's information you'd like to see. So you'll only see a list of departments you've been given access to, but this is really helpful if you work synonymously with other departments like SetDeck, for example, and you would like to share continuity. So if you do want access to other departments and they're also okay with that, their department admin or their department head will be able to add you to their account as a read-only user. And then settings is just some additional app customizations, but there's definitely a few that are noteworthy to highlight here. The first being work offline. So this really just means that your app isn't going to sync unless you go ahead and do it manually. So whether you tap that sync now blue bar on that syncing status, or you tap the yellow circle down here, those would be the only times that you are actually syncing. And a great scenario for this would be, again, if you're like on location or remote and you just want to alleviate your phone from trying to constantly search for Wi-Fi, just helps conserve your battery and conserve your phone. So you could always just enable this for the day and then connect to Wi-Fi and manually sync. Second is photo syncing. So a few options here. The use full size images allows you to just upload a little bit better quality photo if you're maybe taking them with a specific camera and you are needing to zoom in on those props for specific details or zoom in on sets to see kind of where things are placed. This is just going to allow you to upload a better quality. It might take a tiny bit longer versus the standard thumbnail, but again, if you are constantly zooming in for specific details, this might be worthy to check off. And then sync photos on Wi-Fi only is just going to ensure that you're only syncing on a Wi-Fi connection rather than using that cellular data. So we get that question often, how do I make sure my cellular data is not being used? I would come into this photo syncing tab on the settings and just check off this box. Date format. This ensures that the syncing or that nothing about syncing. The date format ensures that you'd be able to just have a few options for how you'd like to see those shoot dates. So whether it's month, day, year, or day, month, year, you now have those options here. And then last but certainly not least, the help option at the bottom is going to give you a direct link to that support center that Natalie was mentioning. So just a great way to access our reference articles. We have them on every piece of functionality for both web and mobile. Otherwise, it's going to give you direct access to our team if you want to speak with us. So you can call our support line or email support at any time. Now let's jump into our breakdown, and we can do so by just tapping on scenes here at the bottom. So you'll see your scenes index, which is simply just mirroring the information added to the website. Typically, it's going to be a department head or someone from production that will break down each script and add additional details like descriptions and shoot dates. So on scene one, for example, you can see that the scene number is here in the top left, followed by the script location. Those are coming in from the script automatically. And then we've got a description, the script or story day, and then that shoot date off to the right. Those are going to be added by someone on your team. You can take a look at this view in a couple different ways. So if you tap the arrows in the top left here, we're going to default and filter this by scene number. But if you wanted to see them by shoot date or script day, just tap up here. And then you'll notice that this little box that says shooting today, it will always default on what's coming up today if you have anything on that day. Otherwise, you can tap these little rows and sort by what was shot yesterday or what's coming up tomorrow. So just a couple of other options for you there as well. But you can tap on a scene to view details, add photos, inventory notes. So let's jump into scene one as an example. Now, this is going to be a scrolling nav bar across the top. You'll have your scene number at the very top, that script location, and then this arrow will bring you back to the scene index. And then these two arrows will allow you to kind of just go through scene by scene. So if I wanted to jump into scene two, I could go ahead and just tap this arrow. But the details tab at the top, this is just pulling in those scene details from the breakdown. And it also allows you to add department notes. So department notes, these are only going to be seen by your team. So this is just a great way to leave friendly reminders for your crew. And as you can see in the scene, it's going to start raining. So I know all my props are going to get wet. And I just want to remind my team or my onsets to bring a few extra supplies to set that day. You can tap principal or background for the characters in that scene and any props they're going to be using. So it looks like some inventory has already been added from the website, which is why we can see it listed here now. And then I can also go ahead and add a continuity notes, just using this pencil icon here to the right. I can also add additional photos of my bird scooter by clicking this or tapping this camera icon to the right as well. Again, the same format here for background. Scene props is going to show you a list of props that you want to log to the scene but just aren't being used by a specific character. And then gallery, which is going to display all photos tagged to that scene. Now the scene gallery we see here, this is going to list photos in order by character, but if we scroll to the very bottom of the page where we see this no character section, we can see all of the photos that we just uploaded at the beginning of the demo. Now I can see that these photos of Monica's surprise party, everyone's holding a beer. I want to make sure that we're logging these photos to the character as well, just so we're able to pull these up more easily. So if I go ahead and tap those little circles in the top right, I want to add all of the characters that are in this photo. So I would just go up to the very top, again, add my tag by tapping on that tag icon. And then I'm just going to tap my character index and select the 4 characters in the scene. So I know it's going to be Richard, Monica, Josh, and Mary. Go ahead and add those tags. And now we can see that those photos have moved from the no character section and they're now all logged to each character in their box. And I'm actually just taking a look here now. It looks like just Monica and Mary are in this photo. So if I wanted to remove tags at any time, really easy to do that. I would just tap on that photo. I can see again all of the places I tagged the photo to. And just by tapping those X's, I can go ahead and remove those characters from the photo. Now let's take a look. That looks a lot better. And again, looking at these photos and kind of what happened in that scene, I see this fleece blanket here of Monica's. I know that this is her blanket. It starts raining. She runs in and grabs it and kind of throws it over her shoulders. So I just want to make sure we're logging that fleece blanket as a prop. So what I'm going to do is just tap back over to that Principles tab. And it doesn't look like we have it added yet, but I can definitely see if we at least have that inventory piece created in our system. So let's add the prop. I'm going to just search our existing inventory by tapping this drop down and searching for the fleece blanket. So let's see if we've added that yet. And it does look like we have Monica's fleece blanket. I can go ahead and just add this by again tapping on the blanket. It's going to already save it that it's being used by Monica. And then if I wanted to add any continuity notes about the scene or how she's kind of wrapping it around her shoulders, I could just add those here in the use notes section. Go ahead and save that and we'll be able to see that fleece blanket now. Because I've added this inventory piece already, I actually have also already logged the inventory photo. But again, if you wanted to add more inventory photos or more photos to the fleece blanket, go ahead and just tap on either this camera icon, or you can always tap the prop to open that prompt back up and you can just scroll down and add additional photos. So pretty easy and straightforward for that. And then also with the background characters, it's the exact same workflow. So looking here, I've got Monica's friends. They come to the surprise party, they hand her a gift. That gift is in very specific gift wrap. So I just wanna make sure we kind of have some photos of that as well. So it looks like I've already added this prop or this inventory piece, but I don't have that photo yet. So really easy to just go ahead and add that photo. I'm going to pull that from my camera roll, tap next, and it's going to automatically add those tags for me. So I'm going to go ahead and save. And again, I could always click this or tap this pencil icon to say, maybe it was being handed with the left hand. I don't know, any continuity notes that you would want to add, you can just tap and add those to the use notes section. Again, those scene props are just going to be a list of props that you want to add that may not be used by a character. And again, that gallery, now that I'm kind of thinking about that, those background characters, Monica's friends, and how they provided that gift, I also am just recalling that they're also holding some beverages. So I just want to add some continuity photos of that as well. So I can actually also add these here. So I would just add photo. I've got those continuity photos of them holding the beers. So I can select those, go ahead and tap next. Again, it's going to automatically add those tags for me, but I can add additional tags at any time too. And then just tap save and it'll go ahead and log those under Monica's friends. So again, pretty easy, pretty straightforward, but just to gain some more muscle memory, let's jump to scene 2. And again, I could always use these arrows here to just tap over. Otherwise, universal search, I like getting everybody really used to kind of coming to this bottom right corner to navigate the app. So I've already been in scene 2. It's actually in my recently searched. So I could tap here. Otherwise, you can always pull up that scenes index or search for it in the search bar. But again, it's just pulling me right into that gallery, sorting by character. If I scroll down, I am going to see that no character section where we uploaded the photos at the beginning from that untagged photos folder. And again, I do want to make sure that the characters are logged here. They kind of have a lot of props on the table. I want to note or be able to find these photos by searching the characters. So again, I'm just going to tap these top corners to select the item or select the photos. Tap that tag icon, pull my character list up, and then I know I've got Richard, Monica, Mary, and Langdon in this scene. Go ahead and select add tags. So again, and this kind of pulls everything in appropriately by character. And just taking a look at the photos here, we've got a few props on the table. We've got some coffee cups. I think those don't necessarily need to be added at the individual level. Probably the continuity photos will suffice there. But we are having a few electronics that I want to log. I know I purchased these for the production. They're actually going to be deemed as an asset. So I want to make sure I can kind of remember or log these to the scene. So let's again tap over to principals. It looks like Monica's MacBook has already been added, which is great, but I definitely know that Richard has his iPad on the table, so I want to make sure we're adding that too. So I'm going to go ahead, let's go see if we've added that iPad. Do a quick search. Looks like just we've only added a photo here, an iPhone here for Richard, so I'm just going to tap this kind of blank space to get back to that same prompt. And instead of pulling something from my existing inventory, I'm going to go ahead and just create that iPad as a new prop. So before I click save, I do just want to scroll down and show you that there's additional fields as you scroll down. So used by, I want to make sure we're logging that this has been used by Richard Anderson. I can go ahead and confirm that. And then if I did have continuity notes, I could always jot those here. So I can add a photo here as well. Got my iPad saved, so I can just quickly select that and add it as my inventory photo. It's again, adding the tag to the scene. I see that it's tagged to the prop I just created, but it's Richard's iPad, so I do want to add Richard to the tag here as well, just so I'd be able to find this photo if I searched Richard. So I'm going to go ahead and tap characters and just add him as well. And then I can go ahead and again, just quickly showing you all that their same fields to add this information that's available on the website is going to be available here if we continue to scroll down. So for example, personal, if we wanted to mark this iPad as a hero item for Richard, we would go ahead and just simply check off this box. And I'll show you what that looks like too when we jump into Richard's character profile. But now that I've saved, really easy to simply use this add prop icon or tap add prop to create new inventory, log the photo, and then just add the appropriate tags based on how you want to search for this later. And again, adding continuity notes is really easy by just tapping that pencil icon to the right. So now that we have kind of walked through a couple examples of how to upload photos and continuity notes to the scene, let's jump into a character view page just so we kind of know what that looks like as well. So again, I can always just jump down to Universal Search to search for my character index. Otherwise, you can always just jump to a character by tapping on their name. And as we look at Richard's character view page here, it's set up very similarly as we see our scenes. So again, we've got this scrolling nav bar across the top. The details tab is going to provide you an overview of the character description, the actor playing that character, and then any specific department notes. So again, this is only seen by your team, but maybe a place that you want to log, like specific character nuances, for example. The Scenes tab is going to show you a list of scenes that character will be featured in and any props that they plan to use. Now, again, obviously things like that blue coffee cup from the local coffee shop, we don't really need to add, but we definitely wanted to see that iPad here. So we were able to add this to the scene view, but we see it here on the character view as well. We could have absolutely added it here. It really doesn't matter. Whatever is the best for your workflow. Props Closet is going to show you a complete list of inventory across all episodes, starting with the personal props at the top. Other props are going to be listed at the bottom. And then of course, a gallery to the right here. This is going to pull in just all the photos that character's been tagged to across the entire production. So we already can see the photos, inventory and continuity photos that we tagged for scene 1 are available. And then of course those continuity photos and inventory photos from our local coffee shop scene in scene 2 are available. So let's say, for example, we wanted to add that in scene 3, Richard's first day on the job, he's going to his new startup office, and he's going to be carrying a messenger bag. I know that this messenger bag is a personal or a hero item of Richard's. He's going to be using it in pretty much every scene he's in the office. So I can, again, just kind of come here and add that prop. I really don't think I have this in my system quite yet. We just purchased the messenger bag, so I can go ahead and just, again, create a prop by adding the name. And again, there's more fields at the bottom to add information, but all we need to get that prop created or that inventory piece created is just the name. But I do know that I've got a photo here of my messenger bag, so I'll just add that while I have this open. Again, it's going to be used by Richard, so it's going to be saved to his closet. I can add any continuity notes in that use note section, but let's go ahead and add the photo of our bag. Perfect. And again, we can see that it's going to automatically tag to the scene, the character, and that prop we're creating, which is perfect. I can always remove these tags or add additional tags at any time, but for right now, I'm going to just go ahead and save. And then I save again, and it'll just be listed the same way that the other props that we see in the previous scenes are listed too. So again, if I wanted to edit this item further, add additional information, or add more photos, I would simply just tap on the actual prop, and I can edit that information at any time. Now, I mentioned that those personal props or those hero items were going to be kind of filtered here at the top. Again, moving down to see other props. Maybe we totally forgot to mark that as a personal prop, this messenger bag. I would just be able to come here. I can always tap that messenger bag and then click on personal and then just resave it. So that's going to move that messenger bag up to the top where I can see a list of all of Richard's personal or hero items. So the benefit of kind of saving it to the props closet for a character or marking it as a personal prop is it just makes it really easy to wrap out at the very end of production. So for example, on the website, if you go to your inventory and pull up all of Richard's items, you can bulk update those to the same wrap box. A lot of times you're wrapping hero items in the same place. So just the more organized you can be throughout the production, the easier it's going to be and the more time savings you're going to have at wrap towards the end. So to quickly recap here, I want to just remind everybody again of that untagged photos folder, really a great option if you're on the go, but you can always add and update inventory photos and continuity notes from a scene or character view. You can navigate to the scenes at any point by just tapping scenes at the bottom for your breakdown. And then last but not least, that universal search is just going to be really the best way to navigate across the entire production. And that concludes the demo portion of today's webinar. So as we close out, I do just want to remind everybody of some best practices. So just a couple of friendly reminders as you guys, or hopefully a couple good takeaways after watching that demo. So just remember to check your syncing status page or keep an eye on that so you know you're always up to date. Again, syncing not only ensures that the photos and notes you've personally uploaded are being sent to the team, but it also helps reflect any changes being made to the script or shooting schedule. Continuity reports and budgeting, those are only available from the website, but if you do need to access those and you're in a pinch and on the go, you can always type in synconset.com from your browser on your phone and access it that way as well. And then if you are working on a shared production, just don't forget you have the ability to collaborate with other departments. So if you do want to go ahead and work with SetDeck a little bit more closely and see their continuity photos and inventory, you can be added to their department as a read-only user. And vice versa, if you want them in your department to see your photos, you'd be able to add them as read users as well. A great note about read-only users is they don't count against your user limit if you have a specific limit within your contract. So if you can feel free to add as many read-only users as you'd like. And then that help tab on the main menu is again just a great way to get a quick resource if you want to search from our help center or if you want to contact our support team directly via phone or email. And then that support.synconset.com is our new help center, totally revamped at the beginning of the year. So if you are on your laptop, feel free to bookmark that. It's just going to be a great way to have some references close for your team. And with that, I'll hand it back over to Natalie.
All right, thanks, Rachel. Great job with the demo, and thanks everyone for joining us. You can always reach out to us if you have any questions. We have multiple ways to get in touch with our SyncOnSet support team, so let's take a quick look at that. First, you can send us a chat while you're logged into our website. Second would be to email our support team at support@synconset.com, or you can give us an old-fashioned phone call if you'd prefer to reach us that way. Our support team is available Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And as Rachel mentioned, we also do have that support site, so you can head there at any time if you want to just quickly look up an answer to a question or do a little self-guided learning or watch a past webinar. And again, that site is support.synconset.com. All right, and we just want to say thank you to everyone who took the time to join us today for our introduction to the SyncOnSet 5.0 mobile app. We hope that it was very beneficial to you, and we hope that you join us for future webinars. We host these every month, and we put them out just for you, so we would be really happy if you could join us. We hope that everyone stays safe and healthy and enjoys the rest of their day, and thanks again for joining us for today's webinar. Okay. So,
how did that look on screen?
It looked good. There were a couple of like delays, like it was a little glitchy, not necessarily in the video, but it was the audio. Like, so it's definitely probably something going on with the internet, but it looked fine. It looked really good, and I can go ahead and just kind of edit together some of this stuff so it's seamless that we didn't skip Q&A. And then I will send it out to everybody later today.
Awesome. That sounds